like to call the Board of Works meeting to order. Phyllis, we could have a roll call, please.
Craig Koshaw.
Here.
Here. Ken Meyer.
Here. You emailed a copy of our minutes from May 5th. If you have had a chance, excuse me?
May 7th.
May 7th, thank you. That 5th, that's the first time I've ever made a mistake, thank you. Copy of our minutes from May 7th. If you've had a chance to review those, if you have any comments or amendments.
I'll make a motion to accept his email.
Second. Thank you. A motion and a second to accept the minutes as email. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, put those things aside. We're going to... This is Lenny here. There's Lenny. Okay, and Les is here. First thing I want to discuss is the salaries for the police and fire departments. Phyllis wants us to give her something so that she can prepare the budget.
And the salary ordinance.
And the salary ordinance. I think that tonight, all we need to do is give her a percentage. I don't think we need to do any more than that tonight. Lenny's talked to me about some things, Les has talked to me about some things, but along with Lenny's concerns, I think he would like to address more money for clothing allowance, possible take-home cars. In other words, not trading in the cars that we have. We've already discussed that a little bit. And possible cell phones for the guys. But as far as an increase in the salary, a year ago, we, as a Board of Works, agreed to stair-step the fire department up to the same base pay as a police officer. And we'd do that in 2 years. And so this year we gave them one stair-step, and for 2020 would be the second, where they would actually get up to the same as a fireman, or as a police officer. So with that, I don't think we can completely address a new police salary, because that would in turn affect the fire salary this year. Going forward in 2021, we could do that, and I don't think that means that whatever the police salary is, that the fire salary would go along with that. But what we agreed to last year at this time was to move them up to what the base salary was of a police officer going into our 2020 budget. Is that right, Tim? Mm-hmm. Yes.
I think that, as I remember, we stair-stepped him 1 year at a time.
Yep.
To catch up the base pay of firemen to police.
Yep.
In the meantime, I would ask that you would request the department head of the fire department to find out what the 11 county surrounding area of Northeast Indiana's base salary for firemen is for 2019, and ask him to get that request somewhere in the next 2 weeks. I think that's fair.
Oh, yeah, we can do that.
As we did with the police department, I think that...
Yeah, Lenny put together something with, that shows what, I guess the cities on Lenny's example was Angola, Auburn, Columbia City, Bluffton, New Haven, Huntington, Wabash, Kendallville, and Decatur. So I guess there were 9 cities that he included. Mm-hmm. Huntington being the largest city, 17,000, with 35 police officers. Mm-hmm. And Angola being the smallest. So yeah, I mean, Les, if you'd want to get those same communities, because like I said, I talked to you yesterday, Les, I said, a year ago when we made this decision to stair-step you up, we were looking at other municipalities of similar size all around Indiana. And all of a sudden our issue is not what Seymour or Madison or whatever is paying, it's more what departments in Northeast Indiana are paying. And
Phyllis did send me today,
that doesn't matter.
Phyllis sent me a link today. AIM has not yet posted 19.
Right. Yep. I have 18s.
So I did look at 18s, and I think the only one that I couldn't find on the AIM site was Auburn.
Right, correct.
In Wabash, there's a couple of them numbers that aren't correct because I know Peru has more firefighters than they're showing they have listed. So there's some errors, but I looked at those numbers today after Craig and I talked a little bit.
But Peru's not really in this 11 county area, is it? Okay.
Well, and Huntington's not on there on the fire. They're on the police, but they're not on fire.
Yep.
So
I think what Lenny didn't use the AIM thing. Lenny called and talked to the police chiefs. Yeah. And it wasn't just asking what their salary was. You asked several questions. You know, do they get cell phones? Do they have take-home cars? What's their clothing allowance? How much is it? You know, ask questions about their longevity. So, you know, that, you know, he asked more than just what's your pay, what's your base pay. So,
It's a little bit of digging.
it's a little
But I
bit
just
different.
think it'd be nice to be comparable for our
And-
Northeast Indiana counties.
Lenny, when he came in and saw me, and we had this book, I compared this book to what was in AIM. And of course, the one I have from AIM is last year, and Lenny's got this year, so they were off a little bit, but I think it was still pretty accurate.
So you said Angola, Auburn, Bluffton,
Columbia City,
Columbia City,
New Haven, Huntington, Wabash, Kendallville. I'd venture to say, without even you making the phone calls, that you're going to find out that Decatur's on the low end of the scale again.
Oh, I'm just checking.
Yeah.
I think it's only fair that we come up with those
Yeah.
percentages.
Not only are our police, I think so are our firemen, and then if you wanted to dig deeper, I think you'd find it. We are citywide. Excuse me?
What do you say? City councilman.
Now you protest.
Yeah, of course.
You lame duck councilman, you.
When you did that, you threw out the highest and lowest and the others, or Craig mentioned that today, if you throw out the high and the low. Is that?
Well, it's pretty difficult with Fort Wayne in there. They're being the metropolitan that they are, 450 or 500,000 in population. It's going to skew it just like anything else. So.
Yeah, I probably, you would use 400. Because they're,
If you get with Lenny and just kind of find out the same people that he touched base with and the same questions, I think it'd be easy.
and I have a contact at all of these that won't be a big deal.
Yeah, he broke it down a lot of ways. Yearly pay, he's got it by population, by number of officers, where we rank in terms of by take-home cars, cell phone, shift pay. You know, what is shift pay worth? Of course, you don't have shift pay. I mean, yours is
Right.
24. Clothing allowances, where we are in the scheme of things with other communities. So yeah, there's a lot more to it. And what he found, his synopsis was that take-home cars are pretty much standard among these communities. That department-issued cell phones at discounted rates are a standard issued item for the most part. They were not all, but... And that we were 5.3% lower than the next lowest paid department in the area. And he excluded Angola because they were 10% higher, which baffles me because they're by far not the largest. They must cover a lot more than just Angola or something.
Right. Plus their tax base.
They cover...
Got a lot of lakes. I mean, we have lakefront property now, but it's just not... We're having tax Warsaw and Columbia City are both. We don't have marinas, you know.
And that lakefront disappears.
Yeah, it disappears.
Angola covers part of Lake James, out on 200 West, part of that, and Pine and some others. They have have a rather large area that they cover.
So, but, like I said, with the situation we have right now where a year ago we addressed this with the fire, I don't think we're in a position to address this with the police this year. We can address some of these other issues. Do those need to be addressed right now tonight, Phyllis?
The clothing allowance just into when we do the salary ordinance, because that is in the salary ordinance. And then when we do the budgets, you guys can approve whether you want to have cell phones. And I can just have Lenny include them for now, and if you want to take them out, we can take them out.
Oh, for budget purposes?
Yeah.
You always want to have it in higher.
I would rather have it in there than...
Yeah, you can always take it
You
out.
can have it,
So let
and I
me
don't
do
want
that.
to-
When you prepare your budget, add in cell phones, add in the clothing allowance, the car, add all that in. We can always reduce it, but we can't increase it. Okay? And then as for a pay across the board, what would you recommend? 3?
Well, whatever council agrees to as far as all the other departments, I would say that's Phyllis's answer.
There's
We
your
discussed
answer.
3% last meeting,
Mhm.
as I remember.
That was talked about, but council still has to kind of approve it. I mentioned that just only because the question was asked, and I said, if we stayed up with county, and of course there were some things that came to play with county too, because county just had a whole new review of their
We had that
wages.
explained to us this morning at the solid waste, that they're doing a 2% cost of living for everybody, and then depending upon position individuals, whether they get any additional, up to 5% total.
So I think the council just probably needs to come up with a basic percent of what they'd like to give. I don't think we want to go through the different departments, only because I think we're pretty standard. We kind of done this with all the departments.
Does the county not have to have like a salary ordinance? I mean, is there? So if they're going to give 2% to some, 3 to some, 3.5 to some, 4 to some,
They'll have a
their
salary
ordinance is going to be a
ordinance.
very cumbersome ordinance.
Right.
Didn't we pass 3% last meeting?
I think we recommend
We
it.
That was
recommended her
recommended,
budget
yeah.
for 3% last week.
For Phyllis's,
Okay, so for
But that was-
police and fire, let's just move on with the 3%. Move on from there.
Right.
Okay. Done.
done.
For now. Next thing up, Carrie is requesting rain gauges and flow meters required for our CSO compliance needs and modem updates. I have a copy of it.
Are we running that stuff, or are we purchasing? What's going on with that, Carrie? I guess you'll explain it
We've
to us.
already passed. We already have everything we just need to make upgrades, because at the end of this year, they will no longer be valid.
Do we own it?
Yes.
Okay.
This is from-
10 grand or-
GRIP Incorporated, correct? Yeah. For,
You guys need to see a copy of it?
Yeah,
I got a
email.
copy here, yeah. 1 CDMA cell phone package, 1 in-street antenna, 2 CDMA serial over IP modem modules, 1 assembly kit, 1 installation, and preferred customer discount. Woo! And it comes with the shipping and everything, $10,436. And Carrie, tell us about it. I mean, we need it, right? I mean, you got to have it.
Who's mandating
What is it?
this?
Monitoring equipment?
Yes, it's 2 rain gauges and then the flow meters at CSO 11 and CSO 5.
And is that mandated by the environmental EPA? Okay, that kind of explains that.
But we do own the equipment, and we're just upgrading
We're
it.
just updating it.
Okay.
And this is your supplier.
Yep.
Yep.
And I asked them, this is the most, what we have right now is the most up to date. And it's like, well, what if we just bought brand new? He goes, well, you have the most up to date.
Okay, good.
Motion?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Yeah, thank you. Motion and a second for Carrie to move forward with purchasing this. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carrie,
Thank you.
river affecting anything out there with this crazy water?
It is.
Is this for Phyllis then? You need a copy of this?
Do you need a copy or?
Is that all right?
This is not an invoice, right? This is just
No,
a,
it's
just a
just a
quote
quote.
sheet?
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you need him to sign it and send it back, or do you do that?
I can sign
I
it.
didn't even see where I'm...
Okay.
Just to make sure you guys are okay.
It's proposed by this guy, but there's nowhere to sign
No,
it.
there isn't. Okay. So you're going to contact him? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, again,
Yeah, we have a few areas along the interceptor that need to be addressed. We're getting river water into the plant.
getting river water into the plant. So that probably means that, what do you call them? Have popped?
Yes. The cap.
The caps, yes. Again. Golly.
And that happens when the river gets so high?
Well, they get submerged in the water and the pressure and
Yeah.
Right. So that thing you can't remedy.
Not till the river drops.
Exactly. And at that point, what do you do, close them or?
well, you bolted them down last time. Don, didn't you bolt them down last time?
Strap them and bolt them.
But there's still enough force there that pops them open, Don? Can, huh? Well, must have a ton of water south of
One
town.
of them is the cone deteriorated on the older manhole behind the key John part, and the whole side of the cone is blowed out. Just the gases rot concrete.
Huh.
So we'll replace that cone and get it raised.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, did not feel our...
Lenny, bicycles. You got some bikes?
Yes.
Don, you got that picture? Lenny's been collecting bikes. He's been going around town. If you look halfway decent, he takes them. I'm just kidding. How many do you think we got?
The non-working ones, we have about 31.
And working ones?
I'd say about 29, but some of them bikes, like, they got flat tires, bent rims, but the body's still good. There's a little bit of work on them. But the ones that I stacked toward the south side of the old city garage, those are like non-repairable. And busted chains, bent rims, rusted frames, and some of them, yeah, those bikes right there, some of those have been around since 2013, 2014, 2015. They're just taking up room. I got no room in my impound garage, which I have 13 bikes in there right now at the new PD. But that's where we store them all. And I'm just looking to...
Free up some space. I took a 10-speed bicycle with nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with it. In its day, it was a relatively good bike. I took it down to, what's his name?
Rick?
Rick. Said, Rick, want a bike? Give me anything you want for it. He goes, I don't need it. I don't want it. I got enough bikes. I got enough parts. So, I mean, for the most part, to try to part them out for parts, nobody wants them.
Didn't Kenny do an auction with Krugerberg one year? Get rid of them?
Well, like maybe the bikes that we have that are on the other side that are halfway decent, a lot of those bikes are old too. I just separated the working decent bikes compared to the junk ones. And I just prefer to
Dispose
scrap
of
them.
Yeah,
And then I'll keep the other bikes for a while, and maybe if we donate them or whatever, you know, they're going to need a little bit of work. Because some of those, like the brakes are broke off, there's no kickstand, but, you know, if someone put a little...
How many calls do you get? Someone stole my bike.
None. We have covered. We get called all the time, and Tubby picks them up for us, and he drops them off at the PD, and then we put a tag on them, and then we rarely get anybody get their bikes.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, it's just... When I was a kid, man, I valued that old bicycle of mine.
When you
And
get a call, what's the report? What?
I picked one up the other day. I was there, Rich Fisher at the annex. They're just abandoned. They was leaning against.
So they're like at stores or public places,
Yeah.
but they just lay there?
There was one at Wendy's, right at the highway in a little small grass area at the intersection. There's a bike on its side. We'll probably get called to pick that up. People just abandon them. They live in public places, parks.
I think they steal them, ride them across town for a quick ride, and then they're done.
Mhm.
But me and the wife, we separate one. Those are the beyond repair bikes right there.
But they have some recyclable value, or, I mean, like ammo or some,
Well, I was just thinking maybe scrap them and then
yeah.
put them in the local law fund or something. Whatever. You won't get much out of them, but at least
No.
have room.
Exactly.
You got a brother that runs a program for Adams Wells County, doesn't he? They need transportation of bicycles for these
That's
kids.
my cousin, like,
Your
that's
cousin,
my
I've heard.
But the bikes that are on the other side, they're not 100% working. Like I said, some of the bikes have flat tires, broken rims, but the body's still good. It just needs a little bit of work.
Are they interested in those?
I never brought attention up to them, but whoever...
You can mention it to them, but I think that, I've been kind of part of their meetings, and that, the reason that we need the public transportation for recovering addicts, that's not the solution. To get a recovery house here, we have to have automobile transportation, public transportation, not bikes. That's what they've been told.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I think Craig brought it up that maybe it's the same organization you're talking about now, that possibly donating bikes to them. And at that time, I had some correspondence with Jody Woods down at AIM, and she gave me what Purdue and a couple other communities do, but she recommended that we establish a policy, and then that policy would be that if you hold it for more than a year, for example, nobody claims that it's deemed abandoned. She recommended a year. Some of the places have it for a shorter period, but she felt that a year would be safe. And then it would be considered abandoned to the PD, and then you have the ability to dispose of it and take whatever proceeds are from it. The problem is with the bikes that have value, you're supposed to have an auction for bikes that have a collective value of $1,000 or more, or any one bike that has a value of $500 or more.
You don't have to.
And if they're not collectively more than $1,000, then I think you could dispose of them however your policy allows. So whether it's donating them to a charity, or just scrapping them out, or, putting an ad in the paper, you're going to take sealed bids on bikes. I think in the past, if I recall, Kenny did have an auction on some of the bikes, and I think Josh Krukenberg probably donated his time just to do it. But it's whatever you guys decide to do with it. But I think anything that's been in your possession for over a year, I think we can probably establish a policy that's deemed abandoned to the police department.
Had it 6 years. Ain't coming for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't have any bikes in there worth 1,000 or 500? Because
There was one Fuji in there, like a mountain bike, but the body's still good. I kept it, but there's no brakes on it. Someone ripped the cables off, and if somebody wanted to buy it, they would have to buy a cable system. But it's still, the body's still good on it. It's just someone's got to put a little bit of elbow grease in to get it.
Wheels there on it?
Yeah, wheels and everything are on it. Those are the ones I kept on the north side of the ones that are salvageable, that we could be possibly repaired, but all those right there, those are just the junk ones we had from 2013, 14, 15, and some 16.
I would look for someone to make a motion that Lenny can go ahead and, dispose of all those that are bad, and proceed with however you want to proceed with the ones that are...
With this motion, is it going to become policy that's how we handle it from now on?
Yeah, I think if that's your intent, I would make the motion to go ahead and establish that, and we'll document it, but authorize Lenny to proceed.
Right. And have him kind of write his policy, or you will help him write his
Yeah,
policy?
I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward. I think...
What is it how many months do you want it to be? After 12 or what? How much storage do you want to do? How long do you want to store these bikes?
Well, if we get rid of these here and start this policy, we should have plenty of room, for at least a year.
Is a year a good number?
I would say so. If they're...
Nobody's...
No, I'm just asking. What do you prefer?
I would probably say a year if it's a good bike, but
Remember Jake Cope? You stole 3 of my bags.
Just to be on the safe side.
All right, I'll make a motion that if we store bikes for more than a year from the date that it's reported, and
Yeah.
public notice, do you give public notice then with the
No.
police department? Okay, after a year of reporting and public notice that the police department has
They're deemed abandoned.
deemed abandoned and have a right for disposal.
Yep.
Or charity, whatever you want to do with them, whatever's proper.
Yep.
Is that okay as a motion?
Yeah, I'd second that, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
So, Mary, you wanted to ask something first there.
Oh, I was going to say, in June, there's going to be all these metal sculptures that are coming to our area. It would be kind of interesting to offer even the junk bike to them.
To see if they can make something out of them?
Yeah, large quantities of metal, kind of consistent, usually make for fabulous art trucks.
Lenny, why don't you talk to Greg Mendez before you dispose of them?
Okay.
And ask him if he...
I don't have his number, I can get through Melissa.
I have it, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can hold off.
Yeah, okay. Let's do that. That's a good suggestion. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
One here at Chief of Police.
Tim and I were talking on the phone today, and we're all set as far as when the Steve Cree Lytle Hair Shack building. We've had our 2 appraisals there. Matt Halverman appraised at $49,000. Steve Cree appraised it at $53,100. Average appraisal value was $51,050. Is that what you got?
I had a note from somebody that it was 51,000, but
Chris is 53.1, and Hollerman says 49,000.
I think we missed this 100 on the other one for some reason.
okay. Well, then it would be, the average would be 51,050.
And Tim would like, I think, Steve is in a position where I think he's ready to go ahead and liquidate the building. What do we do with the building once we get it? Do we go ahead and take it down? Do we leave it stand? Do we try to rent it to somebody? It's a nice little barber shop, beauty shop, something or other, but
I wouldn't get into the
Rental.
rental business. I would acquire it, and then, depending on what,
because we got 3
go
year
with a big tank or a small tank, or,
3-year reprieve on our.
yeah. But we need that property if we're going to rent the
Well, ultimately, we're
tank,
going to
right?
need it regardless. Yeah, I think.
So, I'd make a
I
motion
mean, is
to...
it something that then that you think when Jeremy's crews are on a lull and in the dead of winter, maybe and don't have anything to do, they can go ahead and take it down rather than leaving it sit there and having to insure it?
I would think.
Well, I think it'd be a good idea to go look at the building. I haven't looked at the building. Has anybody looked at the building inside? Have you? I've never had my hair cut in there. I don't have a clue what this place looks like.
It's nothing fancy. Yeah.
It was nice. It was nice.
So we really don't have, what you're saying is we really need to acquire it,
Right.
and then just
You can
figure
either
it out what we want to do with
You
it.
can-
And if we want to level it, we level it later. If we want to turn it into parking
Just
area,
store bikes
whatever
there.
we want to do. How are we going to pay for it? What fund do we pay for that with?
That's probably bonded.
comes out of the bond proceeds.
Right,
About a 2015 bond.
right.
So you need a motion then? Or you already get one?
Yeah, what I would suggest is, Steve would, if you prorate taxes to closing, Steve would provide owner's title insurance, and we'd probably close towards the end of June. That'd give us enough time to get everything ready to go.
Okay. So we make a recommendation to council to do this?
No, it's actually a board decision, because it's the utilities purchasing it, so. And it's being purchased with bond funds, so.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we purchase the building at $51,500 plus what, closing costs?
$51,050.
$50.
$51,050.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to proceed with the purchase agreement with Lytle Hair Shack. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
L-Y-T-L-E.
TLE Hair Shack?
Yep.
How much acreage? Do you got any clue? Quarter acre?
Quarter acre at most. I can't remember.
Corner of Jackson.
Yeah, it's 304 North First Street.
You said plus
Per
closing
street.
costs, is that what you said?
$50,050.
Did you say plus closing costs?
Pardon?
What'd you say? Plus what? 51,050 plus
51,000.
what?
$51,050.
Yeah, 51, I'm sorry, Phyllis, what?
$51,050 plus what? What did you say?
Is there
You're gonna have closing expenses.
Okay.
Plus
Yeah,
closing
That's what I
costs.
meant.
yeah.
You got a second? That passed. Okay, good. What, do we got to sign something here?
No, that is the bid documents for the bidding for the loft department area down here, from MKM to put it out to bid. And at the last meeting when they were here, we said that, for him to put a timeline together of when everything would happen, and we would be at tonight's Board of Works meeting. So at 5:39 this afternoon, he emailed me, pending an approval at the Board of Works meeting, I would like to propose the following timeline for bidding the project, and that was an attachment to it. He wants to release documents to the public for bidding on June 3rd. Contractor walkthrough of the space on the 13th, and receive bids on June 22nd at 2 p.m. Recommend will be made by MKM
27.
for the 27th at 2 p.m. Yeah, I'm sorry. Recommendation will be made by MKM for the July 2nd or July 16th Board of Works meeting. Depending which board meeting is best, award of contract date is to be determined. As mentioned below, we can hold the contractor's bids and their price for 90 days from the date that they are open, with construction to start approximately August 12th. Construction date allows us to work with Wygan's schedule for the completion of their scope in August and allow the awarded contractor access to the first floor space. With this having a mid-August construction start, we may see more interested bidders, since other public projects, i.e. schools, will be wrapping up and completed by this time. This will provide a good indoor project for someone as it turns into late summer, early fall. So with that, I guess we need to approve this timeline. If that's, Tim, do you see any? I think the rest of the...
Yeah, that, if you recall, we held off doing anything until I checked to see if there'd been any
Yep.
changes in law. There were none. So, it's still $150,000, and anything over that, you have to go through the formal bid process.
I just hope this isn't like everything else. We've hired MKM to do our rendering of that area, and now we're going to have to finish it, and then put the hard cost items inside of it. And what we budget, Phyllis, $200,000. I'm just hoping this isn't like everything else where the bids come in atrociously high. If it is, I don't know what you do, Tim. You got to reduce our scope of work, I guess.
Yeah.
We go ahead and do it. We just don't put.
Well, we'll
any-
make an approval for them to bid it
Yeah.
on this timeline.
Yeah.
Make a motion to bid this on the timeline.
Thank you.
We're going to get the opportunity to say yay or nay if it's over
Oh, yeah.
our budget anyway
Yep.
when it comes in, right?
Yep.
After the bids come in?
Yep.
June 27th?
Yep.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion and a second to approve MKM's timeline for the bidding and acceptance of bids. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Lost my pen. Tim, you want to talk about HB 1347? Council members will...
Not really, but I will.
Is that this?
Yeah, well, that's what's going to be proposed to council. Okay. I think Ken sent out my inquiries to AIM and then their responses. I think all of you have seen that. Bottom line is, there's a lot of uncertainty statewide with regard to how this is going to play out. We're getting conflicting opinions, even from legislators. You would think that they would have a clear understanding of what they just passed, but they don't. So what Jody indicated is that, and my thinking is, if you read this statute carefully, two things pop out. The first is that the utilities that are really affected by this legislation are the water utility, and if a municipality has a gas or electric utility, likewise.
Which we don't have.
Okay, we don't. So the only utility in our case that's really affected by HB 1347 is our water utility. If you think about it, it talks about utility services, okay, or services provided by a municipal utility. Our trash disposal is not provided by a city utility. So the sewer utility isn't affected because it's carved out and covered under a different statute that still allows you to lien it. So to hold the owner responsible, you can. But the second... Stormwater falls under sewer. And
then the last thing was our fire protection.
Fire protection probably falls under water, so you may have an argument there that that's a service provided by the water utility. So it could be affected too. But the second thing then is, if you look at the way the statute is worded, is it says that if there is more than one person who is liable for the bill, based on the billing records of the community, then this doesn't apply. So what I'm doing or proposing is that we beef up our ordinance to clearly identify that our billing records include the forms that we had the owners and the occupants sign, okay, and say that that establishes joint and several liability between the owner and the occupant, and therefore there's more than one customer who's liable, and as a result, this language in the statute doesn't apply to us at all. Okay? So what I've done is I've tried to amend our ordinance by adding two provisions to Chapter 50 of the code that deals with billing practices. And if you look at the, I think it's 5038 or 39, that's what we changed and added at length, you know, how we're going to bill in the future starting October 1. So I'm just tacking on these additional sections in that same chapter to clarify that our billing records include these forms that were signed that acknowledge joint and several liability, and that by definition we are saying that our billing records show that there's more than one person liable, and therefore we're not subject to HB 1347. You know, I asked Jody if her reading of the statute doesn't say anything that we couldn't just flat out say the only party we're going to bill is the owner. Okay? But what she's saying is the statute doesn't permit it either, so really you're falling back under home rule, and she says most likely you could end up being challenged in court. If you want to pay the nickel to do that, go for it. I would rather try to use the existing language and work our ordinance in such a way that we can try to get around it that way. I think we're on a little more solid ground there. But I think some communities are probably going to go that way.
Has this been passed, Tim? It hasn't, has it?
What?
1340?
Oh, yeah, it's law. It's been signed by the governor.
It's law.
Yeah, it goes into effect July 1.
Okay, so
I want to
We need to get this done before July 1.
Yes. So I just wanted to get it before you. I wanted Kevin to look over how we define billing records. You know, what I said is it's invoices, it's payment history, and it's these forms that we have submitted. But there could be other things. And if there is, then we need to expand that what we mean by billing records. But I want to clearly put in there that these forms that show the owner remains jointly and severally liable is part of our billing records, and therefore we're treating him or her or they as a customer, just like the occupant that's been authorized to receive the invoice.
So in Jody's answer on that one question, says, I imagine that your ordinance doesn't have customer,
Right.
but talks of users, which includes the property owner. When you say landlord, is that always the property owner? If a husband and wife are the owners, do you have them both sign?
Yeah, we should.
If a corporation owns it, who's signing it? The president?
Should be an authorized signator, whether it's an LLC, a corporation, it should be somebody authorized by the entity.
If the court thinks that the last sentence in a section means the city cannot get a lien on a property from the tenant's use, and that includes a judgment lien, then the city can't sue the property owner.
What she's saying there is, there's two type of judgments, or liens that can attach. One is the lien that is contemplated is the sewer lien, where you have to give notice, and if they don't pay it, then you file that with the recorder and treasurer, and then that gets attached as delinquent taxes and collected, and that's a lien on the property. Okay, the second type of lien is where you go to court and actually get a judgment against the owner, in which case then it's a lien on the property to the extent that the owner, you got a judgment against the owner of the property. What she's saying is, we don't have the legal authority by statute to do for a water bill like we can for a sewer bill, okay? But she doesn't think that it means that we can't go to court and get a judgment that would then attach as a lien. So I think we can still do that as well, but the simplest thing that we're going to do is if we don't get paid our water bill, we're going to shut off the water.
Kevin, did you want to talk any about this and where you're at on?
And I just wanted to make it clear that the property owner authorization agreement form that we came up with, if we have that signature filled out, that's considered, because that lists that they're joint and several liability
Yep.
for everything. So
Our ordinance says it, the form says it, and by definition, we're saying a customer is somebody who's jointly and severally liable for the bill.
that's what last week I've been going through the list of people that haven't sent that form in, which is quite a few, but they're all, one property. All the big ones we've got back, as far as if you own multiple properties, we've got those forms back, but I still sent out 80 letters today. People that haven't.
And that letter pretty much states that you either need to sign this,
31st, it's getting changed.
we're going to put it back in the owner's name.
Okay. Thank you, Tim, for...
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
So do we have an amendment to our ordinance to cover tonight at the council meeting there?
are you comfortable with,
Yeah.
yeah, well then we can move forward with this.
So do we need to make a recommendation for Board of Works to council accept?
Amend the ordinances as we're proposing.
I'll make a motion that we amend the ordinances proposed by Tim's cliff notes here.
I'll second that, yeah.
Thank you.
What's the ordinance number going to be?
Phyllis? Yeah, I don't know.
At the council, yes.
Okay.
I have a motion and a second, all in
Take this
favor?
back now.
Opposed? I want to say something here, okay? It goes back a year and a half, something like that ago, that sitting in this meeting when we wrote off $25,000 of unpaid utilities, and Craig brought up said, enough. We got to do something about this. And we started the ball rolling on something happening, and we've done this. Tim's put hours of work into writing this ordinance, and I think tonight I feel pretty good about the fact that we're way ahead of a lot of other communities. We're way ahead. And I think we're kind of, in talking to AIM, they talk about Decatur and what we've done, so kudos to us. So,
Yep.
thank you.
Kevin spent a lot of time putting together
Software,
upgrades, yeah.
Flowed out of the water.
No, that's right. It was,
That's just 1 year.
yeah,
Yeah.
I go on council 13 or something
Right.
on this year.
right.
Yep.
So, yeah, it was, I think you guys got out in front of this and did something where a lot of communities are struggling to address it now that this law has been enacted, and I know AIM has sent out a lot of information.
You want to read it?
I just want it for a second.
So,
We'll give it back.
yeah. So,
Ordinance on water bill passed. Second and passed, okay.
Amended.
Yeah, ordinance,
Amended.
amended ordinance.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, that was my kind of my question, Tim. If we are, which we are ahead of the game, and we go ahead and pass this ordinance, and they have changed it I was thinking about grandfather. I mean, would we fall into a grandfather clause?
Nope.
But no, that's fine.
Well, it meets the statutory requirement.
Exactly. I understand that.
Severely.
Right.
Okay.
Separately.
I do
Severally.
have
Yeah.
Mayhem.
No, it's,
Okay.
I just, you know, if they're gonna monkey around with this and we're gonna find a way to get around it.
ball.
That's right.
That's right. Well done.
Okay, Phyllis needs to make a matter of record. She has Mike Mahan's letter of resignation, where he's going to retire. It's a sad day in Decatur. Uncle Mike's retiring. I'll read it. Members of the Board of Works, Decatur City Council, please accept this letter as official notice of my intentions to retire from the Decatur Police Department after 30½ years of service. My last work day will be June 14th, 2019, with my first day of retirement being June 15th. I would like to take the time to thank you all, past and present, for the many opportunities that were made available to me through my career. It has been rewarding and fulfilling to serve you and the city of Decatur over the years. The positions I held each came with their own set of situations and learning experiences. Some situations were uplifting, some tragic, some heart-rendering. I've been enriched by all of them. Thank you for your support and trust you placed in me. For this, I will be eternally grateful. I will never forget each one of you. It's been an honor. Michael M. Mahan. That's Mahan. That's Mike right there. It really is. I mean, the guy, I've got to know him more over the years, and he is one good guy. Lenny, since Mahan's not here, we can kind of share that you're having a little Uncle Mike going away day, the day of his retirement, correct?
Yeah, I emailed council members and passed out
Okay.
flyers here. Took us to get him a party. He did not want one.
Right.
So I told him that he's well respected. He should have a little something. So he opened it up. So we're having it June 14th on his last day from 12 to 2. We're going to have some cake, some pizza, some juice. Come by and just say hi, eat just a little bit. We'll present his retirement badge to him. Kevin Gerber is going to drop a little video. Yeah, we have funny pictures of Uncle Mike over the years.
I need to see if I can get you some.
You can bring it. His daughter Emily's going to get us some old pictures when he was younger and starting out in law enforcement, but they'll be surprised in this video. So
Yeah.
we're looking forward to it.
Good. All right. Tim, you want? We still don't know any more on Decatur casting as far as this. We just got an email this afternoon from Brett Miller again.
He was just inquiring about whether he should finalize the survey. We're waiting, what's going on with casting, just so everybody knows. If you recall, Keith Gerber made the offer, but it was conditioned upon him getting a comfort letter from IDEM. Well, that's proven to be much more of a challenge than he ever realized or his consultant realized. So until he gets that, he's not committed to completing the purchase, because that was a condition that was included in his offer. In the meantime, we went ahead and had the survey done. We also said that we would provide a survey, and the survey shows the ingress-egress easement to the cell tower as kind of a zigzag type of.
Oh my God! The county gave him?
I don't know who did. I don't know how it came about that way, but it doesn't make any sense. So then Keith had a question, well, you know, do I have to live with that, or can I, you know I probably can't build over it, but can I use it if it's there? And, you know, bottom line is he can use that ground as long as he doesn't impede or interfere with their ability to use it to get to the cell tower. And then he sent back, he said, well, I don't think they ever used that to get back to the cell tower. And I said, well, it may be. So the other option is you can work out with them and just change it. But anyway, no, it's not done. And it's been hanging out there in part because he's run into problems with IDEM. So we're waiting for the green light to go forward with this, but until he gives that to us, I told Ken, I'm not going to spend time drafting an agreement or doing title insurance on it and then it fall through for some reason because they can't get the comfort letter. So
So if he doesn't, if item doesn't supply this comfort letter,
Well, I think at some point we have to tell Keith, look, either waive that requirement or we're gonna, we're gonna withdraw the acceptance.
But are we really in that big of a hurry?
I don't think so, and I think, that's why I've tried to just wait. I think that in the end, if Keith can get this, it's probably beneficial for everybody.
Yeah.
So.
And if he needs a change of right away, do we have the authority to give that or grant that?
We could do it, but I think it'd be better for him to decide where he would prefer to have it rather than us.
Right, and take it to what, the county or us?
No, he would have to go to the cell tower people
Okay.
and get them to agree to it.
All right. So let's just give him some more time.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing.
matter of record, yes, thank you, Barb, that's why we read it. I'd like to make Mike Mahan's letter a matter of record.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Barb, all in favor?
Aye.
I guess Tim Macklin cannot help us with getting the comfort letter from item, could he? Or
I'll check with Larry, but
because he was instrumental in getting the property cleaned up.
Right. I don't know. I don't quite understand what the delay is, to be honest with you.
Sometimes you just need a name.
Well, yeah. I mean, supposedly the consultant that Keith's been working with knows our way around Indianapolis, so I would assume they know what they're doing, but for whatever reason, it hasn't come through. So.
That email we received this afternoon, I'll kind of follow up on that too with Keith.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
How about the northwest building? Will we get a title on that, or deed, or?
That won't come until, I think, July or
Until
August.
school's done.
Yeah. I
Which
think
is just about there.
I think that's their intent, so.
Phyllis also mentioned to me that we need to make a couple of contracts with Arnold Construction, a matter of record, one for the restrooms at the Legion Park, and one for the wall over here. So,
They're both over 50,000. I'll have to upload these on Gateway, so they just need to be signed by you.
okay.
So hopefully,
So
they were approved back on April 6th, I think it was.
Yep.
So,
When we open the bids and whatever.
So we need a motion to
approve
give
the contract.
approve the contract and give
And have
Tim the authority to go ahead and sign them. I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Bill. Craig?
You can second too.
I'll second it.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Last thing I have here, and I really just kind of jotted it down here today, and it was come following our conversation after the chamber meeting yesterday with Andy Gay, when Andy was asking about, weren't you standing out there then? About the food vendors at the concerts? Yeah.
They ask about food vendors. We want to, council or Board of Works?
I think for now, let's talk about it here. We got time. I don't think Andy was real thrilled about how we're putting the food vendors behind
On First
the
Street.
bands on First Street.
After discussing it with sound people and bands and the food vendors that do the Thursday night, they would prefer to be between 2nd and 3rd on Madison. If we
Hearing
can
this, Jeremy?
control traffic on 2nd and 3rd, because we have electricity down there. They want all the food vendors together instead of having them separated. That way it's fair for all. Once the show starts and they sell out of food from that area, they can exit to the west without hurting any, or I think without creating any issues with...
Without being seen. Yeah.
Well, I mean, for example, let's say the Optimists sell out at 6 o'clock. Instead of sticking around until 9, if it's not a pedestrian traffic issue, they can exit and get away on 3rd Street and shut down and get out of there. The vendors have a difficult time when the music is playing, making change and stuff, and it looks crowded behind the stage, you know what I mean, or around the stage. They would just prefer that if we were going to do the food vendors, we put them in all together and then have them in on where they'd have electricity and stuff. We don't have electricity in their titles.
He's repeating what Andy said. This isn't something crazy.
But I've talked to, you know, when somebody says something like that, I try to take it to as many people that would have influence and opinion on it that would be involved in that, and I kind of agree with it. We're going to have probably 13 to 15 vendors. We've got people that want to have food trucks and barbecue and stuff like that, and we don't want barbecue drippings on the plaza, on the concrete. Frankly, on First Street, I think we'll be blocking traffic if we put farmers market there and then food vendors. I don't know, guys. I think it wouldn't be that big of a deal if it would be okay to block off.
If we moved them over there,
Second
Craig,
Street.
is the power supply, it's sufficient so that they could be clear
We've
toward
got
this end, right?
400 amps of power supply on
The Courthouse Square.
on Courthouse Square, on the north side of the courthouse.
What kind of time do they need?
They would usually like to set up around 5. I checked with Kukulhan, and he didn't even, like I said, with Kukulhan and the prosecutor's office, I asked this prior to spring break. It was back in March, about having farmers market and food vendors on there, and the courts and the prosecuting attorney said we can make amendment for Thursday evening. I'm going to have police protection there. It would be a matter of blocking off 2nd Street, and if we're concerned about the pedestrian crossing on 2nd Street, I'm
You
going to
may have to have police officer there earlier to make sure pedestrians can cross safely.
Yeah, I'm going to
Otherwise,
have police
you know,
protection.
we heard out the farmers market's request, and I think this is kind of the food vendors' request, basically. I mean, it may not be consensus of all of them, but when I talked to Andy the other day, it all made sense to me, and I thought, it's worthy of bringing up here. So
Well, if we want, it matters what we really want.
yeah,
If we want to have a concert on the plaza, we have the restrooms and all that facility there. It's going to get a little bit bigger, and we're moving it to the east. We're limited on how far we can move it to the east because of the tent holders, and I bought a tent for the stage to put over there to cover, blah, blah, blah. But we can move it to where the 6 tree boxes are on the east end of the plaza. I can get it over that far, which would be 100 foot for the cords for the sound man, and to be able to hook into the speakers the 10 speakers that we have with the latency to make the whole plaza sound good, okay? The food vendors, if we're going to stuff them into First Street or try to go around them, like I said, the volume, and I've got about 13, and I've got 3 or 4 food barbecue trucks. And
Jeremy and I have talked, and I don't know if any of you have seen the grassy area down there, but it's looking pretty nice. Jeremy's been throwing fertilizer on it and mowing it, and it's coming up real nice and thick. I don't really want to put food vendors in that area.
Why do we have to close that?
We don't. We just have,
I'm putting on my Eichhorn jewelry hat now.
yeah, but what are you talking about?
Why do we
Close
have
what?
to close 2nd Street?
I didn't say close 2nd Street.
Okay.
I say close off just like Madison Street between 2nd and 3rd, where we
Okay.
block off
I'm fine with that.
on the west of the courthouse. There's no real business on that. Maybe there's a haircut, but after 5 o'clock, they're shut down anyway.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
You had mentioned something about, you were concerned about the traffic.
Yeah, his Eichhorn jewelry hat, I don't know what I understand, but I got safety because I stood at that intersection in concert and it's a mess. So,
We could shut off the traffic from the south at Court Street. We could block off the traffic there and send them around Court Street and 3rd Street. That's just a matter of...
or otherwise you're going to have a cop probably
absolutely,
directing traffic.
absolutely.
I like the idea of
A police car with a light.
people at a concert and food here. I just don't think we need to block 2nd Street.
I don't think we do
also
either.
block it on Fridays for this festival or that festival.
I think if there's a police car...
What time do you guys
light on
close? What time your shop close?
6.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, what's Soul Pig's opinion on blocking it? They got a lot of people down there right now. Everything.
I think it's a great idea to have it on the other side. I'm not arguing that.
Yeah.
I
I think
between 2nd and
it's
3rd.
fine, yeah.
the safety is
As
the
long as
biggest
we can make
concern.
sure that- I just don't want anybody to get hit.
Is Jeremy here?
Back and forth.
What do you think? What's best?
I like the idea of kind of spreading out a little bit, getting the food vendors across the street, because just like in 2 weeks, you're gonna have a real big show. Other weeks, you're gonna have a really big show. And the bigger the shows we have, it seems like the more crammed in there we are with the food vendors and farmers market and everyone else. I would say we give it a shot a week or so and see what happens.
Yep.
And I'll be the first to admit, if it doesn't work, or say it doesn't work, and we're doing something different.
If we move-
Say, let's give it a shot.
if we take those pylons down there that say yield to pedestrians and we put them right out in the middle of the street so that traffic from both sides see that, and if we have a police car sitting there with its light on and a policeman standing in the middle of the street, I think the public is going to be safe. Less.
Well, the one year that, with the 224 project, for the fireworks, you know, we walked across Woodland Road, people gathered, and, you know, if you go down to the Indy 500, you want to go across the pit aisle into Gasoline Alley, a couple guys that walk the rope across, everybody stands, then you give a couple minutes for people to go from one side to the other, then you open the street.
Yeah, I think with a little common sense, we can make this work. So.
So we cool with that?
Yeah, so Craig, do you want to let all the food vendors know that's kind of what we're going to...
Yeah, because they're asking me questions and I don't have really a brilliant answer, so...
Yeah.
I just think it's a good way to try it. What do you think?
I think it's definitely worth a try.
It's not just the concert going, because of the concert. I know the Elks was having discussions. They think they may want to sell stuff because they see others are...
Right. Well, I mean, we're getting food vendors all the time.
Matter of fact, I think Mr. Marbaugh's here tonight to talk about food at the Lions. You can go ahead and address that now.
I can address it?
Yeah.
Okay. Want me up there?
I don't care, sure.
Okay. Basically, you know me, Scott Marbaugh from the Union Township Lions Club. We're trying a new project this year for a fundraiser. I know I've talked to Craig Koshaw, Melissa, and I even talked to Lenny. We're going to be selling ice cream treats. Basically ice cream sandwiches, ice cream drumsticks, cones, Snickers, ice cream bars, chocolate chip ice cream sandwiches.
We should have brought some samples.
The good news is many of the items we're getting through Dean's Foods here in Decatur.
Right.
It's a local company that we're helping support. They're supporting us. And what we're doing is we're going to basically return that back to the community. Each night we're going to highlight a different project that we've worked on, helped out. Portion of the sales are going to go towards that project. I think our first one we've got planned right now is Adams Wells Crisis Shelter. Since they've shut down, they need the money.
Yep.
There are going to be 2 nights that 100% of our sales are going to go right back to these projects. The first one is going to be June the 20th, and it's the Hannah Nutman Ballpark renovation.
Cool.
So we're trying to hit Little Leagues coming in. And thanks for the heads up that if we're going to be moving down a little farther on Madison Street from the 2nd, 3rd, I think that'll help us out as far as setup. And
well, that's what I wanted to hear from you right now, was if you're okay with being over there, you think that would be fine?
I think it would work.
If you are okay with this, I'd like you to stay, because the city council meeting starts at 7:30, and you can say all this again, and the press you may get a little press out of it.
I've already given them the press release.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw that today, too.
Okay.
You've got it. I dropped it off at the chamber.
Yeah, Lynn showed it to me this morning.
WTVD and Democrat.
Good.
So, anyway, if we're up for this spot and we can deal with it as the city, I'll make sure that gets done.
I have a feeling the farmer's market's going to be...
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. They'll be real happy now.
Well, I mean, what do you mean?
No,
They'll appreciate the fact that you're spreading out.
Right.
I think it's win-win.
Win-win for everybody.
Well, I don't know if they'll be any closer there.
No.
I mean, what, are we going to leave them on First Street
Yeah.
and shut down First Street?
Farmer's market?
Yeah.
That's where they are now.
That's where they are. Just
No, I mean,
Were you suggesting they move too?
whatever they want, I don't care. I don't think we need to shut any more streets down in the city of Decatur.
No, I don't think that the farmer's market wants to move over there. I think they want to stay right where they're at. I haven't talked to Melissa. She's out sick today, but...
We talked to the vendors, or we just talked to Melissa?
well,
That's the difference.
Her and Deidre Miller.
Yeah. So anyway, the next thing I was going to ask, I've heard a lot of, and I'm just bringing this up for conversation, that area north of the Marks Heating and Cooling building, are we just going to let that be grass, or do we want to turn that into a stone lot for additional parking? I'm just wondering. How big of a deal would that be, Jeremy? Would that be a big deal? I mean, I looked at it, I was going to step it off today, but it's muddier than heck, just to find out how many square feet and how many actual additional parking spots we could get out of it. I could do that, but I just wonder, we could probably get another 50 or 60 cars in that area. We've got 2 or 3 junk trees, right? You mean I think they're cottonwoods, aren't they?
I don't know what they are, but they need to come down regardless.
Yeah.
It's just been-
Well, that's one corner, and then we still have another corner where we're going to put a wall, that we have to figure out what to do with that green space.
Well, but you've got crushed 73s on the property, right?
We have some, yes.
Okay, I'm just gonna ask a question, why do we need more parking?
We do need more parking.
Do we?
When we have some of these large events, we're also going to have a new theater over here. Going to require to be more people down here at one time.
Corey is hoping to have another theater over here. That's a ways off, but I can see it if there is a second theater and they're showing 2 movies the same night, then we may have a parking issue.
Is the chamber lot parking lot full?
Nobody parks.
No, but I'm just
But
asking.
it is being used more.
Last year when we had the big concerts, when QB Ashcraft was here, for example, where'd everybody park? They found somewhere.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of, I think that's,
What's that?
If we have lots of stone,
Yeah, my only thing was, I checked with guys who did the electricity. We've got one electrical pole that goes from the First Street back to a box that's about 18 inches down. I'm just saying, we could take that and peel it off to where, I mean, you're mowing it every week. To put stone in there is probably not that expensive of a deal that we crush it at $7 or $8 a ton. Put a 5-inch base in there, we don't have to mow it. We are
And in
creating...
5 years, if there's, whatever, I just threw that number out.
I'd like to
If
leave
there's
a
other
green
things
band between the
happening,
sidewalk, 8-foot
that-
green band.
If a better purpose is, it'll be easily done at that time.
For that matter, why not go south on First Street, the other side of Macklin?
this is easier to access, I guess would be the answer. Agree?
Both lots are gonna need some definite attention this summer anyhow, so.
Well, I mean, I just noticed
Them
if,
either need dirt hauled in, re-leveled off, due to settling issues, because they're holding so much water right now, and/or something done different with either one or both. So, I'm gonna hold off for a while, because obviously, as wet as what it has been,
It's going to be a while.
there's no need to try anything at this point, but
Yeah, like you said, that over here where we took the house down, that's settled quite a bit. You're going to have some work to
about
do.
half of that's gonna need to be tore back up and re-leveled, because it's just settling and that's holding so much water.
And like you mentioned the trees, that's something that we need to put attention to. But no, I think long term, for downtown event parking, it might be a good idea. If at some point in time we develop the riverfront area and we want to get in there, like Wiley said, we can get in there and have at it. And there's a,
And all, if you decide to do that, it's really not gonna cost you anything other than just the time to,
haul the stone in.
do it, because
Right.
we would have enough stone at the shop, a lot of.
Now, you're gonna put a lot of stone out at hand, not
Get
too.
it up, but I see us grinding again this year, to make up the difference from all the projects, so.
well, you're not going to get it any cheaper.
No.
Oh, no.
The way, the price that we're crushing that, all that broken up concrete is just too good of a value.
Up to you guys, if you want to, fine, if you don't.
Hey, Don, show the part south of the Macklin building, would you?
I think it would be used regardless which one that you did.
you want to go all the way south?
Yeah, right there. Where's the property line? Down there to the...
We own all of that.
You mean that south?
From where Macklin parking is.
Yeah. I
Zoom
mean,
in.
yeah, I mean, was that all of ours right there?
Yep.
Yep. The cities?
Yep.
I mean, what do we do in there anyways? It got some stone on it?
Grass,
Some of it's grass, some of it's mud.
trash.
It's just junk, isn't it?
parking at a parallel. That way you can still save that for riverfront development and still have parking.
Widen the street and make parallel.
Not necessarily parallel, but
Angle.
parking.
Well, you got sidewalk there, what, about 8 foot?
Brand new sidewalk.
Right. I was just thinking if there's any way we could, I don't know. I thought it'd be cool at that corner of Monroe and First, that if we take off from that parking lot, just cut down get the topsoil off of it, get down to the clay, and put 4 or 5 inches of 73s in there and compact it. I don't think we have to stripe it or anything like that. It would be great overflow parking for a lot of things that are going to go on in the downtown area. I would leave a ribbon of green grass between the sidewalk and the stone, you know, like an 8-foot ribbon that would make it look soft.
You know, and I would imagine that Small Town Bar and Grill,
They would be happy.
Corey, and everybody would
be
probably...
And it's easily accessible.
Yeah, I mean, right there on the north side of the Marks building, you could come in there and I don't know. I don't think it would cost us that much, and it would probably give us a little...
Can we get an idea maybe for the next meeting of how...
Yeah, I could-
You can't do anything now, it's wet as can be.
Yeah.
But
I could measure it off, tell you pretty much how many tons it's going to take, and we could figure that out. When we crush up that brick and concrete and stuff, we're not ever going to be able to purchase stone that cheap, and they've already got it on the property, so.
But like I said, though, he's planning on using a lot of stone out at Hannah. So,
when you say 70 trees, that's a size of stone?
Yeah, well, he's got a mountain out there of probably 20, 30,000 tons. I don't know what you're planning to use at Hannah Nutman, but we always got concrete coming in too.
7,500.
Oh, is that right?
but they're done measuring it right now. About 150 that way.
So 275 by $1.50?
No, that's about he's drawn. That's total. So if you just keep adding more footage.
150 by 125.
What?
150 by 125.
Okay.
Now, is redevelopment on the corner? Redevelopment?
I don't think they didn't buy that, did they?
Apartments, did they buy it, or did the city buy that apartments?
This corner?
Last one we forced out.
Yeah.
2083.
Back half of that, though, is...
Greg, it's 20,000 square feet, basically.
Right. I got, 2083 square yards, and I go 660 on, for 6 inches of depth. I go 110 pounds per yard. So, okay, I got the number. 2083 times 660 divided by 2,000. About 700 tons. I got 687, but I'd round it off to go 6 inches of stone in there, in that area.
700 tons. How many tons you put in the truck?
10 in the little ones, 20 in the big one.
I mean, that's 6 inches, guys.
It's not that bad.
No.
And they're all, right now, they're all concrete in there, faster we can stack it.
That's what I figured.
If we have to grind again later on in the year, which I plan on doing anyhow, it's not that big of a deal.
Okay. I don't think we need to make a decision tonight, but I think we definitely want to consider this, Craig.
I
You know,
think
I
that
do.
would be a benefit to the downtown businesses and also maybe show a few out. with-
It would be nice.
with
Yeah.
parking. Especially as we start having the bigger concerts.
Yep.
What time?
We're gonna run out of room regardless if we have the full law parking lot or half the law parking lot, you know, on some of those concerts.
Mhm.
When we had UBM, they were parked everywhere, so through the concert up in a couple of weeks, you're gonna have a lot more cars than that.
Yep. Okay. We need to move on here. Tim, you have anything for the Board of Works?
I think I covered the things that I have.
Phyllis, do you have anything else for the Board of Works?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
would we want to get a price on a traffic light at the corner there of Madison and 2nd Street? A walkway traffic light that people can push the button even during the day, if people cross that area.
Jeremy?
And that would slow the traffic down going through town.
Bill, you talking about one of those push button?
Yeah.
Those hawk lights.
Expensive. I mean, just if we're having these gatherings downtown, if we want to, like Tyler said, be concerned about our citizens, which we do, that are crossing the street. I know at one time we asked the state, when it was state-owned, to put a traffic light in there because we were having...
It would be going on a loan, that's for sure. It wouldn't be...
I have that email of that project I'm working on with the school, so I'll get you those numbers.
I just throw it out, just
I've been working with Brent on another project out at the school, so.
even if we could...
I'll have those quotes.
Okay.
Even if we could have it during the day, I mean, I see people standing, looking downtown and trying to get across there. You have a lot of Court Street traffic, or courthouse traffic that comes across there. It'd just be possibly an advantage for the city.
Okay.
It's a challenge to get across the street some days.
Exactly. And if you just go up, push the button, and wait, and have a flashing red, and that, these people that we've been concerned about the speed limit going down 2nd Street, we dropped it to 25 mile an hour. We got a device that showed the speed, which slowed traffic down. I think there'd be nothing wrong with slowing traffic down going down to 2nd Street.
By the way, I wanted to compliment, hey, thanks for getting those green parking area signs up. They got those signs up.
Oh, they're up now?
Yeah, and I think it's brilliant. And, you know, Ken, I think about that. Other than the labor for that area to go that area on that for that stone, I think we ought to do it.
It would save us on mowing it, too.
Oh, for sure, because he's mowing it once a week.
Can the Board of Works decide this, or we need to talk about this as a council, Tim?
So it's really an executive decision. So I mean,
So I can make that decision?
Board of Works. Yeah.
Board of Works. Make a motion.
I think I make a motion that we get into that as quick as we can. I don't know how long until you'll be ready to do something like that, Jerry. Probably a few weeks anyway, wouldn't it?
Jeremy's not in control of the rain.
I know that. I meant...
In my report, it explains what Mother Nature's doing.
You want to second that, Bill?
I sure will.
All right. Any council members got any qualms about this?
I do.
Because we don't need parking.
I just think that, I understand that there's businesses that are complaining, I understand that on some evenings it could be used, but if we're not taking full advantage of the parking that's already existing,
Never will.
we're just making it more convenient for them to park closer, which is what they want.
Exactly.
So, I just,
The chamber parking lot is never going to be taken
No.
advantage of. Never will. Unless there's a function right there. Never will.
so our solution is to
Or rather than having a vacant lot, I mean, I think...
That we have to mow and maintain.
And it's not really going to have any major cost.
So why did we buy it?
And it will always, because we're
We're
on
a riverfront development, and we finally had the opportunity after many years of trying.
Well, and I thought it was because of that
Sewer, yeah.
Yeah, sewer
Sewer
situation.
connection couldn't
Well,
be
No,
made.
it's
couldn't make it from the house into
Riverfront
that.
development.
And the river,
All of them are like
Park-
riverfront.
plan.
Yeah.
I think if we stone that, it's the goal is still in 3 or 5 or 7, whatever years, that whole stretch to be redeveloped. So it's making a better use out of it for now until that, because included in that is more parking.
And if there is a better use in the future, it can easily be turned into that.
Right. And frankly, at $7 a ton times 700 tons, you're looking at a $5,000 expenditure to expand an area that we're mowing every week, and we can always reclaim the rock. I mean, if we decide to do something else with the rock, we can pull it out of
Well,
there.
I think long-term, that may be a few years, but we will develop that area, the riverfront. I hope. I hope we do.
Me too.
Yeah, this isn't a permanent thing. This is, I think, in my opinion, a temporary thing. Any other discussion before we vote over here?
I don't just, it kind of piggybacks on it. I don't want to ignore. We said we want the wall first, then what are we going to do with that grass and knoll?
I don't think there's enough parking there that you can make that a parking lot. I don't. But
Didn't that look neat?
Any more discussion?
no, not at all.
Any more discussion?
No. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Look for a motion to adjourn the Board of Works. Take 5.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you.